sun is shining on me like it should. I feel like Rogers in the, I'm Mr. Rogers in the, Mr. Rogers in the neighborhood. It's early morning and I'm feeling good. That sun is shining on me like it should. Ain't got no worries and I'm feeling good. Summer's on me like a backpack, I'm full of love and I'm feeling good. When I get the time, I'ma find a place where I settle down, get fertile ground. But for now, I'm gonna enjoy the summer. Dog days, no bummer. Poolside with a lover. I'm gonna find me a place I promise. Chasing the sun if I'm honest. Wanna be singing that all of my goals today. I'm nothing to do with my goals for life. I'm chasing the sun and I'm living a dream, you know what I mean? Celebrate a day. I'm Mr. Rogers in the neighborhood. It's early morning and I'm feeling good.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm rapfredrogers. My goal is to help artists grow and connect as usual. And if any of y'all are listening along, I'll ask that you leave your 1 to 5 star rating as we go. 5 stars meaning you would actually download this, add it to a playlist, or share it with a friend. And it's great to get feedback from the rest of y'all on these beats too, so it's not just me. All right. With that said, as is tradition, let's get it cracking. Welcome to the neighborhood, Awsome Antwan. It's good with you. See who else pops up as we go. And first one we got here is from WerkingDad. So tell me what y'all think. Yee. Hey, welcome to the neighborhood, Jeliii. Welcome, welcome. Alright, shout out to WerkingDad with C.R.E.E.P. And the rest of that one is not too different. So to keep the show from going too long this time around, I might be stopping some beats a bit early. If there isn't too many more changes or arrangements or changes to song structure after the first couple of minutes or so. I think we got a good vibe for that one. And also, feel free to drop a link to any of y'all's socials in the chat when your song comes up as well, guys. So I feel like this beat here from WerkingDad shows a good formula. I really like the initial sample of the whistling and vocal harmonies in the background. That kick really punctuates the beat nicely. It shows you good variety in its patterns for the kick, so I like that. Points wise, percussion was solid. Melody was pretty strong. I think that's a strong suit of this one with that kind of whistling synth. Use of negative space, which isn't necessarily a good or bad thing, but I think there was a decent amount of it. Having some more room in the beat, having a bit more negative space in the beat is attractive to songwriters in general. Shows that there's still room for their voice to add a layer of instrumentation into the beat. That's something we'll continue to look at today. Beat structure and arrangement, solid. And creativity was medium. I thought so. So pretty good overall, pretty well-rounded. I feel like you could certainly take this song in a bunch of different directions if you are a songwriter or a rapper, so that's nice. And I could see it being a track with maybe like nothing but bars, just bar after bar, really showcasing MC abilities. It's a bit slow, but I think it could fit that kind of MO. It definitely could be a beat that could make an incredible song. I could hear the potential there. You just really need to get the right rappers on it. You need to get really great rappers, I feel like, to really maximize this one. You kind of follow that classic Wu-Tang formula, artist after artist, kind of just spitting hot fire. Or you could take it in a totally different direction and build the track more around some sort of a theme or a strong hook. That could work also. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat before we move on. Add any extra info. Jeliii says the beat and sample aren't quite in time to him for his timing, so that's throwing him off a bit. So recommending you might be able to clean up the chopping and sample and the timing on that one. Giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. Hey, Big Terry! Whoa, welcome back to the neighborhood, man, from one of the first episodes we ever did. Always shouting out that TS3. Welcome back, Big Terry. I believe you're from Northern England, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome Antwan giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. Also mentioning, not much with the changes as well. Okay. Well, this is our warm up here. Let's do it moving. Next up, we got track by RobscpH. I don't know about that one, but let's hear what we got. Cool little animated video here too. Alright, robscph. Apologies if I murdered the pronunciation on the name. Not sure if you're here right now. I feel like this is a good example of how you can have simple and minimalistic drums that still really work if they're built around the right sample. So I think that's something that I can see is a strong suit here. The low-end keyboard, that boom, doom, doom, that was kind of a combination of low-end keyboard and bass. And essentially that kind of low-end keyboard becomes a critical and central part of the bass line here, which I really like. It gives that very like hypnotic classic hip-hop style, I feel like. Cool visuals here. Something more than just the stationary picture. Curious what y'all think about that, if you like those visuals or not. I like how it's kind of you show some clips of like the dude kind of playing the guitar, the space guitar. It kind of lined up pretty well with what was going on with some of those keyboard kind of moments. And then the anime samples that you use in the beat itself, those are kind of like randomly dropped in and out. Those were fine. They don't really do too much for me personally, those anime snippets. I feel like they could have been left out, for example, and the beat would feel pretty much the same. But also there's nothing wrong with it, so that's just subjective. Points-wise, percussion was solid. It was muted. It was not really about having the drums stand out too much on this one. They were smooth. Melody was good. That's definitely a strong suit of this one for sure. Not too much use of negative space here, but that's okay. The beat structure and arrangements were solid. There were some progressions. There were some things that kind of keep you engaged even without vocals. Creativity was medium to low, but then you add the visuals. That kind of helps a little bit. So I would say classification-wise, at least that's can't find a flaw. I think that's pretty solid. I think it's doing what it's trying to do. See what we have in the chat. Jeliii says pretty chill beat, to be honest. Not stand out to him per se, but definitely one for the road. If you're in a deep thinker, kind of contemplative mentality. 3.9 out of 5. Pretty good. Yeah, you could roll one up to this one. Big Terry saying it would be good for just straight bars. Yeah, I think so. Some of these beats would sound better if you do have those vocals on them. So you kind of have to imagine, you know, are there any songs like this that you actually love because, you know, it's just showcasing some great MCs and some great bars. I feel like this could fit into that quite easily. So Awesome Antwan, 4 out of 5 as well. Liking the bass line to it. Nice vibe. Cool. All right, y'all. So we're doing pretty good. Also, gonna just drop the link to the Discord just in case any of y'all are interested in that. We've been getting that growing over time. It's also in the description down there if you look in the description. I think the link times out after a few days, so sometimes y'all be asking me to drop the updated link, so there you go there. All right, so next up, I think it's about that time for our guy Jeliii. Let's see what you got this week, Jeliii. Hey, Jeliii, man, that was different too. What I like about Jelii's beats is almost everyone is like its own universe. He has a very diverse style, so you don't know what to expect. That was cool. Yeah, could you guys hear any industry artists on this? Like, does it remind you, can you hear someone's flow that we might be familiar over this? It's always a good exercise to try. Like, who would go on this? Like, maybe like a prime Lil Wayne, maybe like a T.I. or a young Jeezy, maybe. The bell accents really made it for me. It was a very simple layer, but a very critical one, in my opinion. If those kind of like just bells were missing, the beat might feel like it's lacking something. You kind of need something in that high-pitched, more harmonic register to contrast that primary heavy synth that you're kind of building this one around. Pretty great example of letting the beat build. I think that was awesome. For sure, every time I was beginning to feel like accustomed to what the beat was doing, it would then kind of change. And a lot of producers, I think, can learn from this and really start working on how they arrange their beats to create more song structure, which is not to be taken for granted and worth the extra effort. It really is attractive to songwriters, I think. They start kind of imagining how they would kind of go over things, and the changes kind of help inspire either freestyling or other ideas and rhyme schemes for people. So that's, helpful, helps get people going. Adding in that horn layer when it just bump, 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 and then it opens up later, that created a whole new dimension of the beat that really made it sound more rich and full, I would say. The string accents leading up to the hook were great. The little do-do-do-do-do-do, that was awesome. Cool little moment. I think it's very attention grabbing. I also love how you really opened up the hook with the drum cymbals and the powerful horn melody. That's when the horn kind of opened up more. So points-wise, percussion was great. Melody was also great. You kind of build that as you go. Use of negative space. There is a lot of beat progression here, so there were some great negative space moments to catch your attention. Deconstruct the beat, reconstruct the beat to create contrast. So, great beat structure there. Creativity pretty high. There's elements of this you've heard elsewhere, but altogether it's a pretty unique beat, I'd have to say. So I certainly can't find a flaw. It could also be considered really impressive due to how unique it is. Kind of depends on, I think this is a bit more subjective. The more unique, the more subjective often things are. I feel like with this one, it would really depend on what kind of vocalist you get on here. Like, a lot of rappers might struggle to maximize this beat with their styles, but if you get the right rapper on here, it could be a straight classic. For real, for real. So let's see what else we got in the chat. So Awesome Antwan saying, Jeliii, you got some real good talent. 4.7 out of 5. Might have been our highest rating so far. Hey, and Viz Kid, welcome back to the neighborhood. Hitting it with the 4, saying that's dope. And then let's see what strong song structure is the hardest part from Invis Kid's perspective. Yeah, I agree. So there's some good examples of that, and there's some examples of songs that you could tell kind of need that coming up. And then Jeliii saying it was subpar. Oh, you're being hard on yourself, Jeliii, giving yourself a 3 out of 5. Nah, that's not fair. You're being humble. I like this one a lot. You might need to work on the mixing and mastering, but there's, at some point you got to step away. I think it was well done. You can always tweak things forever. You know what I mean? Sometimes think to yourself as producers, guys, how hard is it just to get it out there and move on? It's hard to let go, right? Oh man, and then okay, so Jeliii saying if y'all interested and there's any rappers, hit them up. That's the next question we'll have for any of you guys is like, do you want to collaborate? Is this beat open? Because I think we have some good ears on it, and this might be a good opportunity for some collabs. So yeah, Big Terry saying you might be able to switch up some flows and really take this to an interesting place. I agree. So well done, Jeliii, man. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate that. All right, so next up we got a mashup to just kind of switch things up in the broadcast a bit. And your challenge is to try to tell me if you can recognize where these vocals belong to, the original vocals. So here we go with Cquencer.
Busting all the tails out the box. Had to get a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box. Where the stash at? Cruise the city in a bulletproof Cadillac. Cause I know these niggas have to wear the bag at. Gotta move smart, gotta move smarter. Niggas try to keep me by my water. I lay his ass down on my son, on my dog. talk shit, and I know Poppy get a key for the park. Cause I know these niggas tell me where the bag at. Gotta move smart, gotta move hard. Niggas try to keep me 5 mile water. I lay his ass down on my son, on my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. A lot of niggas out here playing, ain't ball. What's that? Cooper City in a bulletproof Cadillac. Cause I know these niggas tell me where the bag at. Gotta move smart, gotta move hard. Niggas try to keep me 5 mile water. I lay his ass down on my son, on my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. Cause out here playing, they ball. Coupe at the lot, told for a 12 swat. Busting all the bells out the box. Had to get a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box. Coupe at the lot, told for a 12 swat. Busting all the bells out the box. Had to get a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box. Put my whole arm in the Greenbax talk you, and I know Poppy get a key for the pot. Put my whole arm in the Greenbax talk you, and I know Poppy get a key for the pot. Put my whole arm in the Greenbax talk, I'ma get lazy. Put my whole arm in the Greenbax talk you, put my whole arm in the Greenbax talk you. Your whole damn field, I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deal, keep it trippin' like the 80s. That's that. Your whole damn field, I'ma get a bulletproof Cadillac. Cause I know these niggas got the bag at. Keep it trippin' like the 80s. I lay his ass down on my son, on my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. A lot of niggas out here playing, ain't ball.
Alright, so Cquencer with the mashup. Cquencer didn't actually want to reveal where those vocals came from, so I was wondering if any of y'all might be good enough. I feel like I could almost put my finger on it. Sounds like some sort of Georgia artist, but I could be wrong. So I guess we won't find out about that one. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like you should always mention whose vocals you're using in your mashup. I don't know how y'all feel about that in the chat, if you guys do mashups. I love the guitar layer. That absolutely makes it for me. Sets the tone real well. Might have been just a looper, man. Loop, but fucking good, man. If I haven't heard it, it's great. Who cares? I don't mind that. And I don't know if you had to adjust the tempo on the vocals much for this one, but they seem to match the beat pretty nicely. I feel like that's the big challenge with a lot of mashups. I feel like there's a pretty great use of negative space in this one. There's a lot of room to let the beat breathe. I like that. Kind of makes that bass and low end kind of come through real strong. Good match with the guitar layer. I really like how you only bring in the heavy trap hi-hats for certain parts of the track, and then you kind of let them leave as well. That creates a lot of that negative space we just talked about. So that was a nice move, not overusing that kind of aesthetic. And you chop up the vocals with the beat in a cool, creative way. Towards the second half of the track especially, you kind of get more chops going in. So I can't really find a flaw. I'm curious if y'all can in the chat. And the mashups are a little bit different. We'll see. You know, percussion wise was solid. Melody was great with the guitar. Negative space was pretty high on this. Beat structure and arrangement is pretty solid. More like how you chop up the the original vocals was more what you're doing with your arrangements on this one. So it is pretty creative, I would say. I guess no one knows what this actually original vocals are. Jeliii says vocals just need a bit of tuning. The beat's excellent, but is missing something in the high end, kind of spacey areas. Seems a bit hollow. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Yeah, and dropping socials and networking, y'all. Let's get some. I'm waiting to get a neighborhood collaboration track. I know it takes a minute from start to finish, but I'm waiting to see when we can get some on here. That's cool. And then as far as rating this one, Awsome Antwan saying 3.9 out of 5, so almost a 4. It's pretty good. We can be hard to get 4s out of 5s out of y'all, so this has been a pretty good, highly rated beginning to this show. Maybe the vocals are drowned out a bit would be the challenge for almost any mashup. So yeah, that could be the case. And a VizKid hitting you with a solid 3.5. which is a win. So Cquencer, pretty good, pretty good, man. All right, so doing and moving. Next up, we got Produced by Human Error with a Big Sean kind of anime type beat. Let's see what we got. Was nice. There's a lot going on. Is this too busy? Waiting to see how that beat comes back. Right, man, produced by Human Error. Shout out to you. That one was very interesting. Starts off, there's a lot of beat building going on, and the question would be at certain points, do you feel like it's too busy and there's too much going on? I'm not sure. I think it was pretty well balanced for what it was trying to do. Pretty great melodic scale serving as the primary layer that this beat is built around. Everything else goes off that. It's a fairly simple and popular thing to do, this kind of style. But I really like how it's being approached in a much more creative and unique way than you usually hear for this kind of lane. Lots of cool subtle changes and layers dropping in and out with this one for sure. One of those ones you could definitely run back and catch some little Easter eggs that you might not have noticed. I especially like how you introduce a strong flute layer, like a little bit after a minute in. That really caught my attention and created great contrast. And how that kind of flute layer then set up the really hard-hitting synth bass during the transition back to the primary beat. I guess that would have been around the hook. That was masterful. That was masterful. Let's see if we could just play that one more time. That might be worthy. Wait for the flutes here. All right, so anyways, you know, pretty unique. Right on the border of maybe can't find a flaw and really impressive. It's trying to do a lot, so it's hard to classify. Curious what you guys think. Going through the points, the percussion is pretty great. Melody is awesome. Use of negative space is even there because it's kind of a dynamic beat with a lot of beat progression and song structure. So the arrangements were nice, really nice. One of the better examples. Extremely creative for those reasons. So might even hit the bonus category of having some mass appeal, because I definitely feel like that's a pretty catchy beat that some people could hop on. Some, like, you know, industry cats. And, you know, also let us know if you're in here, if you'd be down to collaborate with this beat. I think people will be interested. Produced by Human Error. If you're down for a collaboration for this one or not. Sometimes it's just about having a promotional beat. That way all the rappers out there can start thinking about helping to complete tracks like these if you're down. And that goes for any of you guys as we keep going here. You know, this is that making hip-hop community. You know, we are trying to level up and collaborate. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Looks like we have some cool responses. So let's see. Big Terry is saying, I feel like you got to flex if you're going to hop on this one. Absolutely. So solid 4 out of 5, 4.5, which is nearly perfect score from Big Terry. Jeliii says, remind me of Timbaland's Instagram. Whoa. Timbaland's a genius, right? And these kind of layerings kind of do remind me of that a bit as well. So it leaves enough air in the track to add vocals, but not be like generic or uncharacteristic. 5 out of 5, perfect score from Jeliii. I believe that's your first perfect score today. Switch up is nice in the middle, maybe around that flute time that I played. Awesome Antwan saying perfect beat for a mainstream artist. Yeah, 4.9 out of 5. So basically we'll round that up to a perfect. And then, okay, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. If This Is You, produced by Error. Avery, what's good, man? Yeah, I think you got a good review. People liking this one. So well done. We've been trying to get some contrast in different styles of beats too, so I think that one was something we haven't really touched on yet. All right, cool. Let's see if we can keep it moving and play some more creative and different shit. Here's one by Luke for Prez. I guess we got 3 choices. Trump, Biden, and Luke. What you got, Luke? More saucy ass flute. This one is extremely unique and not even that complex. There's not like a ton of layers. It's just each layer is just extremely present and hard hitting. Man, Luke for Prez, man, you might get my vote. Shit, that was a cool ass beat. Such a very cool voice sample at the beginning that this is all built around. That's just a home run of a voice sample. Lots of great negative space in this one, which I really like. There's a lot of room for this one to breathe. The bass hits hard and seems layered well. It's important when there's not a lot of layers, that each layer is kind of like well done and full and dynamic. The strings are an important layer to build a sense of momentum as the track progresses. I think that was critical. And the flute layer is fantastic. It matches the tone of the song perfectly. So we got back-to-back flute layers, which you don't always hear. We got a little contrast in our show right there. And that flute layer really works as like that critical final layer of melody that you really needed to help complete the track. I think if you didn't have that, something would be missing. So well done. To me, this is really impressive. Like, you know, what much more do you need, right? This is just begging for some vocals. So going through the points, you know, the percussion is solid. The melody is solid. Use of negative space is incredible. Beat structure and arrangements are medium, but, you know, you don't need a lot. You don't always need any of these categories. It's kind of case by case. Creativity, I would say, is pretty high because you're building a pretty unique sounding beat to me. And I think it has that bonus mass appeal category. I could hear this definitely being something that you know, the right artist could make into a very memorable kind of track. So let's see. Big Terry off the top, you can hear how a few US or UK artists could kill this one. Absolutely. And VizKid saying, nice use of the vocal sample. I mean, yeah, that was just front and center, and you didn't distract from that, and you just let that be the main thing, and it was pretty perfect. Jeliii says, you know, solid beat, nothing wrong. Maybe just needs, you know, vocals to round it out, right? And that would just, some of these beats kind of are perfectly incomplete where they are demanding that you add vocals to kind of complete the song, and that's actually a bonus. So 4 out of 5 from Jeliii. Awesome Antwan saying, you know, 3.7 out of 5 until the flute came in, and then that bumped it up to nearly a perfect score of a 4.5. So that shows you how much that layer could matter to him. That was cool. And then the VizKid hitting it with the 3.5. So, you know, pretty well rounded. It's been a strong beginning to the show, y'all. You know, it's been some of the most favorable reviews. So I don't know if y'all in a good mood or you're drinking like me, but keep them moving. And then spread some love. If you like any of these artists, you know, I'm dropping the link. So look them up, hit them with a like and a comment. It's not hard to do. What goes around comes around. All right, cool. So next we got a track coming to us from Greenbax. Let's hear what we got from Greenbax. Got the IPA. Yee! Now you just need to roll one up, y'all. This might be the one to do it to, too. Very epic sample. Who would sound good on this? Hey. Greenbax. Whoa, buddy. Did that leave you wanting more? There wasn't too much with the change up of the progression, but if you have such a money sample, just give me the sample. That's all I need. You know what I mean? You don't always need to change it up. It depends on what you're going for. So very epic sample here, obviously. I love how the low end is also handled with this one, which can be ignored with some of these very melodic kind of high-end samples. That was important. So I also like how the hi-hats aren't too trappy. I like how they're mixed a bit lower than the average hi-hats that are going trap style, so they don't kind of dominate the sample. I think that's a stylistic choice that worked really well. You kind of put it under the umbrella of the sample. Points wise, the percussion was super solid. Melody was incredible from the sample, so you just picked an incredible sample, giving you everything there. Not much negative space in this one, but that's not what this one's about, so that's cool. Beat structure and arrangements, there's not really much going on after that, but outside of some drum changes, but that's cool. Pretty solid creativity, I mean, just from getting such a good sample. So I would have to say at least I can't find a flaw. Not a lot of beat progression or arrangements or, creative song structure, but whatever. Not every song needs that. The sample is rich enough that you could definitely still build a fantastic song around it exactly how it is. I'm wondering if it should stay at 2 minutes or if there's room to kind of keep it going. Maybe it depends if you have more than one artist on here. But it looks like people are fucking with it. Hey, Wilson, welcome to the neighborhood, man. Thank you. Saying Wilson fucks with the sample. Positive feedback in the chat here. Awesome Antwan says, sounds like a Drake type beat, like maybe old school classic Drake, huh? What else we got? Or even like a Tupac. Whoa. I love Tupac so much. I don't think there's anyone who's had a voice quite like him. And I think he would still do so great on so many contemporary beats. He wouldn't even be that much older. Dude would be like, Dr. Dre's age or something, or younger. Anyways, Jeliii says this beat is for Blue. Ooh, yes. Okay, I can hear that. Blue in Exile, absolutely. A lot of these kind of like classic, like, sounding smooth hip-hop artists, for sure. Jeliii's hitting it with the 4, saying it's just waiting for vocals. Big Terry got the old school vibe. Like you're about to speak some knowledge on the track. It sounds like knowledge, huh? Definitely. So you can't be dumb and ignorant and just coast on ad-libs on this one. You need to have something to say, I would say, on this one. Maybe Common, right? It reminds me of some Common. And VizKid hits it with the 4. Awesome Antwan hitting it with the 4. Wilson saying, yeah, it could use a beat switch, but maybe just taking the sample away and bringing it back. Something just so simple like that. Right. 4 out of 5 from Big Terry on this one. Cool, man. All right. Well, hopefully we're giving you guys some different looks, different stuff to look at. Here's an artist that's always fun to review. Here's Fiori DS, who's a big favorite from some of the mods and other artists on Making Hip Hop Community. So let's hear what Fiori DS has for us today. Maybe comparing and contrasting these kind of soulful, smooth, classic hip-hop beats. This sounds like a classic waiting to happen, huh? Had to pause that one, shit. one hurts to stop. I wonder if any of y'all was freestyling. We got to get some of you guys on some freestyling one of these days. That's the kind of beat to do it to, too. Looks like there's some good comments. We'll get to those in a minute. So, buttery, smooth beat all around. Goddamn. Incredibly well mixed. I think that's normal for Fiori DS. He's a G. I like how the background flute layers feel like it has more of a natural progression to it as opposed to an obvious loop. Even if those are samples as well, you kind of like mix them and match them very well for this one and gave it a naturalistic kind of vibe. Also, great fucking snare selection, right? God damn, certain songs you can just tell when the snare is perfect, right? I often feel like people don't take that extra time to really search for that perfect snare for your sample. I feel like people settle for an okay snare. This will show you the difference between what getting that snare right can do for you. It just sounds so fucking crisp. It cuts through, that snare cuts through the beat perfectly, but it's not abrasive. It just fits right in and kind of brings everything going. Percussion wise, excellent. Melody wise, incredible. Use of negative space, it even has some of that in here, even though it's busy, but it's busy in kind of a pleasant, kind of chill way. The beat structure and arrangements are incredible, so you'd have to give it some maybe some medium creativity, because I've heard stuff like it, but it's like a perfect example of this lane, like a perfect example. This could definitely be a professional industry track. It sounds like an old school classic that never happened. It's really impressive to me. It's my highest rating. Let's see what we have as far as in the chat. So Jeliii is loving the lo-fi intro. I think there are some strong static layers in there. Wilson says drums are hitting. You know, Big Terry saying it thumps. And Viz Kid saying, yeah, this hits the ears quite nicely. Agreed. Yeah. Jeliii saying Freddie Joachim vibes. 5 out of 5. Perfect score. Yeah, pretty much nothing but positives here, Fiori, man. You was on the last All Beats episode as well and got a very good score as well. So, you're just competing with yourself on this one. The last beat was hella different, too. Wilson saying the horns are fire. Big Terry's liking the horns. Really nice on the ears. Melody, drums, good structure. Awesome Antwan hitting it with a 5 out of 5. And Big Terry's giving it the TS3 approval. 5 out of 5 for him, too. Viz Kid hitting it with the 4.5. So that one might be the best reviewed one overall. And, the more people engaging with your track in the chat, the better. So well done, sir. Well done, Fiori. We like hearing from you, man. See what you cook up next time. All right, Wilson, I believe you are in the chat. Always nice to have people with us. So we're going to start this one off. Here we go. Here's a track from Wilson. Looks like a Bjork sample, perhaps. Wilson, man, thanks for sending that one in. Yeah, I'm interested in this. You could take this one a lot of different ways, so that's a strength. Very chill and relaxing beat for sure. Kind of like a reflection eternal kind of mentality in the first half especially. Then the vocal sample makes this huge impact when it drops. It kind of changes the beat. Like it does and it doesn't. It's still the same beat, but it adds a lot that wasn't there. And I'm kind of happy you didn't have that the whole time. I think it was smart to bring that in halfway. You could have two different artists over the two different halves, and it might sound really cool. Good contrast. I like the way it's chopped for that hook. The vocal sample changes the whole personality of the song for sure. And I like how you keep parts of the vocal sample for the second verse. Very interesting song structure for sure. So going through the points, percussion was solid as fuck. Some of those cool like hip hop stutters and shit you did with the percussion was great. I really liked that. Small detail but impactful. Melody was pretty good with that piano sample, pretty good there. Use of negative space is pretty solid. Beat structure and arrangements started off kind of like medium, but then definitely progressed to higher. So that shows you what some good beat structure can do for you, and that makes it pretty creative to me as well. You might not have felt as impactful if you didn't drop in that vocal sample. That was a big kind of big points for that. So I would say at the very least, I can't find a flaw. Let's see what we have here in the chat. Jeliii says 4 out of 5, no qualms at all. Awsome Antwan saying Biggie sounds like he could sound on this. Whoa, yeah, like some old school Biggie. Oh man, see, these kind of hip hop beats, man. It's more about what artists you add to it, because that's the missing layer. Perfectly incomplete on purpose. Maybe some old school Reasonable Doubt era Jay-Z as well. Big Terry liking the stutters and the beats. Yeah, you can play around with some cool bars and showcase some bars on this because of that. Absolutely. Also saying some old school Jay. Yeah, man, exactly. I hear that as well. Oh, okay, also Jeliii saying Action Bronson for a contemporary artist. Hell yeah. Smoke DZA, Danny Brown, Freddie Gibbs for sure. You can see how much Wilson. You can see how much diversity you're providing with this beat. You know, it's not really an empty slate, but it's more on that side than a totally busy kind of slate. So it's providing a lot of room there. So 4 out of 5 for Jeliii. 3.6 out of 5 from Awsome Antwan. You know, and VizKid hitting it with the 4. So well done, man. And that other one I was gonna look at was dope as fuck too. So you definitely got some talent, bruh. Help us stick around and continue to share some knowledge with some of these other artists here. Thanks for being here. It's always cool to have you guys with us. Yeah, Freddie Freddie Gibbs and Action Bronson collab on this one. Shit, that's a classic if so. All right, next up we have one more mashup. It's our last mashup. This looks like a Nipsey Hussle mashup, so it is getting credited. So let's hear what we got from Yali, Feeling Myself. I'm listening, but I'll be back with a beer.
Keep it on the low. My cash grow like Pinocchio's nose. Bulletproof 7
All right, Yali with the Nipsey Hussle mashup. Curious how y'all feel about that. I'm not sure Yali's with us right now, which is too bad because I would like to ask about some of the techniques used here. I love the pulsating, oscillating synth, which is like very central and forward as the main layer. It pairs with the 808 layer quite well. I feel like I wish Nipsey's vocals were just a bit louder. They seem maybe a bit drowned out in this one. Not sure if there's anything you can do about that in the mix. Sometimes it's kind of limited by the quality of the acapella vocals that you have, so unclear. Overall, the vibe of this track definitely gives me like Far Side or J Dilla type vibes, so that's awesome. I think it's a good flip on this Nipsey Hussle track. I love the keyboard layer you add during the hook. I think that really opens it up as well. I feel like the only thing that might be holding this back from being really impressive could be perhaps the mix and the levels of Nipsey's vocals, if anything. At the very least, it's a really good formula. Points-wise, percussion was solid, melody was great. You know, not too much negative space here with that pulsating synth, but you know, the beat structure and arrangements were solid and pretty creative. I do think it was catchy. So definitely fucking with that. In the chat, let's see what we got. So InvisKid saying he's liking it. The vocal mix needs some work though. Okay, so it's not just me who feels that way. Got you. And Wilson's mentioning the bass is a bit too prominent for me, but a good vibe. So maybe just adjusting these kind of ratios in the mix, man. Subtle changes could go far. All the elements here are fantastic though. Awesome Antwan saying 5 out of 5 on the beat, 4 out of 5 on the mashup. That's kind of how I agree too. If you take off the vocals and make this into an instrumental, I think people will be like lining up to hop on this, man. So it is a great beat. And Antwan, you up next. You up next. So hang in there. Thanks for being with us. Big Terry's liking the mashup. 5 out of 5 for him, and VizKid hitting it with the 3 overall. The beat and the vocals do match well, but the mix could be maybe the room to improve. Okay, so it seems like kind of a consensus there. So it's kind of cool when people hear things consistently. And then Big Terry, man, you might have to hop on the Discord, man. I don't know if you on there yet, but bring the TS3 crew with you, because you know you got good feedback, man. We need more international representation too. So I just dropped the Discord link again. All right, so let's get to our boy Antwan. All right, here goes Awesome Antwan with his track with the Playboy Cardi kind of Pierre Bourne type beat. Let's go, Pierre. I like how you deconstructed that. That was hella successful. right, so that's a fun beat. I mean, it's just easy listening and it's fun to vibe to. I can definitely hear like a Playboy Cardi or like Pierre Bourne type theme for sure. So I definitely think you're like, if that's what you're going for, you're kind of nailing it there. It's very dominated by that strong bass in particular and that synth. Pretty simple beat overall, but sounds professional for this lane. Drums were solid. I really like the bell layer, the doon 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 doon. That was great. You needed that. That, you know, there's a lot of beats, they have one or two layers of simple like harmony and melody, but then they need that one extra thing to really kind of bring out some personality in the track, and that's what that layer did for you there. So excellent. And this kind of style is not about having a million layers, right? This is about simple and good. So I feel like it was really important to add that layer of melody and harmony, but, you know, not overdo it. So this was a good formula for sure. You know, percussion was solid. It's kind of all well-rounded all around. Melody was a strength. That's definitely what you were going for here. Lots of kind of empty space to work with as a vocalist. Beat structure was medium. Creativity was kind of like okay for this. It probably does hit that bonus category for maybe some mass appeal. So I definitely think it's doing that lane quite well. Let's see what we got. And also, Antwan's been hitting everyone up with hella feedback, so y'all need to go and hit him up and hit that link up and give him some likes and some comments and shit. So Jeliii says, reminds me of Jesus Is the One by Zach Fox and Kenny Beats. Okay, that's very cool. Yeah, real good melody, says Big Terry. Yeah, absolutely. You can get swinging with that. Jeliii hitting it with the 3.9 out of 5. Pretty good. Yeah, you get the right vocals on it, it's a perfect track. So that seems to be something we've been hearing a lot from you guys, like these perfectly incomplete beats, which is actually what you want to go for. Don't make your beats so busy that they chase off vocalists. And that switch, I really like that too. Little just, you know, that's what some of these other beats were missing. Just drop out the percussion, give me like one little weird instrument for the transition. Way better than not having any kind of progressions at all. That can reset the listener for sure. Big Terry hitting it with the 4 out of 5. So well done, Awsome Antwan, bruh. Appreciate that. That was nice. All right, stick around and give us some feedback for some of these other ones if you can. So this is an interesting. Next one we got, I don't know how to say this, Babier Bros or Babier Bros with California Delight. Every once in a while you get a title that is just spot on, and that is some California delight right there, man, for sure, for sure. I mean, you have those kicks, which are strong, but you also have that very Bay Area sounding kind of wobble synth bass, like whoa, 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 boom, boom. That's, you don't hear a lot of beats like that, so I'm very happy to have something like that on here. I love it. You have that primary string melody in the background, which kind of keeps things moving, paired with that high-pitched kind of classic-sounding West Coast whistle synth. Man, I don't even know all the names for these things. I'm just trying to describe them best I can. It would be cool if he was here to get some more information, because this is a style of production I feel like a lot of people are not familiar with. And this beat has so many layers, but they're also married together well in a way that still sounds cohesive, which is hard to do. And there's still a good amount of negative space in this, which is impressive. About from the middle to the end, there's kind of like this kind of more improv synth instrument that goes on keyboard that might fill up some of that negative space and compete with the vocalist a little bit. So it almost makes me wonder if this is just best as an instrumental, right? Some of the classic funk songs are just straight instrumentals. You could also think about having some singers on this. And I definitely still feel like there's lots of room to rap on it. So you got that classic West Coast cowbell accent in there, like ding 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 ding. You just made DJ Quick proud with that one, man. For real. That's so cool to hear. I love that funky instrument you introduced just after a minute, like around 1 minute and 10 seconds. I don't know what that's called. I wish I could know what that's called, because I've always wanted to know what that instrument was called. You just, and from that moment on, I think you're just kind of improvising with maybe like a MIDI keyboard. It doesn't sound like a sample. I feel like that's you playing the keyboard. So points-wise, percussion was great. I mean, extremely great. I wasn't wild about the clap snare, but it was fine, and that's subjective. The melody was incredible. You navigated the negative space pretty well for having so many layers. There still are moments of that in here, which is impressive. The beat structure and arrangements are incredible. The creativity was pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? So if there's any room for improvement, it might be on that snare on the drums. You might be able to layer that differently and still keep the hand clap in there. But I don't know. That's definitely on the subjective side. I'm just trying to find something for, since the show is catered around leveling up and collaborating. But at the very least, I can't find a flaw. And to me, it's really impressive, especially since I don't really hear a production like this very often. Super West Coast, bounce, rock, roll, and skate type beat. Mac Dre would be all over that thing. So, yeah, let's see. In the chat, people are saying, very funky, head bopper, really nice. Everyone's liking this. Tupac, oh, man. Any show where I can get two different Tupac mentions is a win for me. And for any of y'all who's making these beats. Jeliii is coming down the side of being, more like, all right, it might feel like it's a bit all over that place and it's kind of stocky, like stock sounds. And could probably up the negative space a bit and use maybe some more reverb. 3 out of 5 from him. 3.5 out of 5 from InvizKid. GT Ritz saying lit. Hey, welcome back, GT Ritz. 3.5 out of Awesome Antwan. Needs some more improvements. So yeah, I mean, this is a very niche sound, you know what I mean? But it's cool to be able to cover it. So I appreciate it. It brought a lot of something different to this broadcast. So thank you, Babier brothers. All right. Next up, we got Ku. Let's see what we got. Just spiking it on him. like that bass. Right, shout out to you, Koo. It's kind of a popish lane. It might not be my personal subjective favorite lane, but we're gonna try to be objective and fair. It is fairly formulaic sounding beat to me. It's built around that guitar layer, which I think is a strong layer. It does seem mixed well. Very kind of standard trap drum patterns that drop in and out. Those were solid. At least you did drop them in and out. I think that was a good move. There's not a lot going on here as far as beat progressions or arrangements. You have that piano hitting some basic scales and chords. It does sound cohesive and well put together. It could be a good song with a really great vocalist. Going through the points, percussion was okay. Melody was probably the strong point. There is good negative space in this. Beat structure and arrangements were poor. Creativity was poor. So, you know, might be kind of like bonus category was to make up for that with some mass appeal, to be fair. Let's see. Wilson saying it's really well mixed. Jeliii saying, to be honest, it sounds a little bit too much just like a generic YouTube type beat and doesn't really feel as outspoken. You know, 2 out of 5 from him. Really nice 808s. I agree. I think the low end was strong here. Melody is too simple. 3 out of 5. And then a Viz Kid saying needs vocals, but it did keep his head moving, so 2.5. So it could be elevated with vocals for sure. This is the kind of beat that's kind of waiting for the vocals to do something for it, to elevate it. I think some beat changes and some arrangements could have, even if they were very simple, could have done a lot for you on this one. So good formula. You know, it's a good formula. Not quite my cup of tea, but it's a good formula. And it's definitely good to mix something in that hits that kind of vibe and target audience, you know, that is aiming for that kind of radio audience. All right, so next up we got 2020 Vision, who was on, I believe, last episode with a vocalist on here. So let's hear what we got as just a producer.
2020.
2020 vision. I'm actually curious. Let's switch up the order how we do stuff. Let's see what the chat has to say right away. So Wilson saying kicks a bit too loud. Jeliii saying the kick is a lot louder than the rest of the beat. Needs to be turned down just a tad to let the rest of the music breathe. Not too much in the way of creativity, but a solid 3 out of 5, which is a win. Pretty good drill beat, says Awsome Antwan. Agreed, 3 out of 5 from him. In VizKid, mix needs work. Kick and bass are too up front, but I dig the vibe. 3 from him. And VizKid, turn down that bass. Yeah, it might be a little bass dominant. You're going with, you know, something you're trying to like really make those bass glides stand out and be something that really dictates the attention of the audience. And so I feel like I'm trying to think about if they were tweaked a bit. They're still pretty strong and pretty good. So I do like what you have there. Maybe just a bit, like the people are saying in the chat, of some mix adjustments could make a big difference there. Also, very nice guitar layers put together for the primary melody as far as strengths. Also, like that kind of orchestral chorus type layer that falls in around the 45-second mark. Creates a very epic feel. I think that's a strong win. I'm trying to give some credit where it's due. And then you pair that with the occasional church bell accent. That adds to the epicness during the transitions. There was some good stuff done here. Great use of the dynamic bass glides overall. They do keep things from getting too repetitive, so I like the way that they're there song structure wise outside of the mix. The deep 808 that you finally drop in around 1.5 minutes in was successful. I was wondering if you were going to add that layer or not. And it paired pretty good with some of the string accents you dropped in during some of the transitions around that point, that 1.5 minute point. And I really like the electric guitar sounding layer that you added towards the end as well. So there are some things to shout out as far as positive song structure layers. I'm assuming that guitar at the end was just like a MIDI. It'd be interesting to ask you if that was done with MIDI. But either way, it added great closure to the beat. I think a lot of beats don't kind of have something that kind of ends it and kind of puts a punctuation mark on it. So I feel like that did that well. So you have to say the structure, arrangements, and progressions were pretty decent with this one. Yeah, the beat was built well. I would say it depends on how much you think that dominating bass counts as a flaw, right? That would be the only thing holding it back. It has the potential to be really impressive. Percussion was pretty strong element-wise. Melody was okay. Use of negative space was pretty decent. Song structure and arrangements were great. Creativity, it had some potential there. It was on the creative side. So I think that covers that one. All right, cool. Let's switch it up. We have some ones I'm definitely excited to play for you guys. Here's another one that's more unique before we get into some more classic sounding sounds. So here we go with KAH-LEV, My Side. Jeliii, tell me what you think about this one. Wilson saying some Carter 3 type vibes. That's pretty good. Pretty good builds. Shout out to you, KAH-LEV. Let's see what we have in the chat right away. I'm liking that order since you guys have been really awesome about giving us great feedback today, making my job easier. Jeliii saying start out's very old school. Drake, I can hear that. The kicks need to be fatter and less punchy. Might need to change the kick if it needs to be that sound. Low end is missing a bit from that. It did kind of open up with the low end as it went on though. Wilson saying drums are a bit too busy for him, so there is a lot going on with the drum layers. He likes the pad chord progression, needs a bit more subtle low end. So a couple people talking about that low end, but Wilson's also saying not bad. Jeliii saying 3 out of 5 altogether. Vocal samples and drums seem just a bit too flat for the main sample. It's a pretty good job though, giving it a 3, which is a win. Wilson giving it a 3. And then also Jeliii mentioning the builds are in, to the credit here. Those are done very well. It's a unique beat. So, I feel like it was a pretty epic beginning with how you initially let the progression fall in, even if you could have changed some of the mixing. Also, pretty good song structure and drum builds, like we mentioned. Setting up those beat drops that you set up well. That's something a lot of rap producers don't often do well. Like Juicy J does that really well as a producer. But not a lot of people still take advantage of that. So I want to shout that out as a successful technique here. It makes me curious if also you have some experience producing other kinds of electronic genres, maybe EDM as well. I could hear a crossover there, potentially. I think a strong layer was the vocal chant like, hey, hey, that you drop in during the hook. That really was important. And when I was beginning to maybe get less engaged, that sucked me right back in. So that was critical. That really elevated the energy for that song and probably made it more attractive to songwriters to say, this is where you put the hook. You know what I mean? Makes a songwriter kind of want to fill in the blanks. I can say this can't find a flaw. It depends. A lot of the feedback might be more subjective, but, also there could be some issues, as far as potential objective mistakes in the mix. Points wise, I thought the percussion was solid. I thought the melody was solid. I thought the use of negative space was on the low side. Beat structure and arrangement was pretty great. Creativity was solid. So it is a pretty well-rounded track to me. And with the right rapper, I feel like this definitely has potential to be a really impressive track in theory. So thanks for sending it in. I do like that. I'm very curious to hear what you guys feel about this next one. Give this one a second to breathe. Here we go with something from AT-Beats. And he's calling it a Kanye West type beat. Tell me if you agree. All right, AT Beats. Now, I might like this one a little bit more than you guys. I do kind of like how empty it is and how much you could take it in different directions. I do also agree that it's not great as a standalone beat, but I feel like it could be a really great song, man. I think there's a lot of artists who make classic songs over shit like this. So I don't know, as a songwriter, I'm kind of maybe fairly attracted to it. I feel like the snare sets a great tone personally, and the kick fills things out nicely. I like how it's built around those elements primarily, but that does make it, pretty empty, but in a positive way as far as negative space goes. The piano chords are chill. The sampled singing layers are what make it for me. It's not adding a lot, but it does add something significant to me. And those layers fall in great when they do. And the separate vocal chop for the hook is even better, in my opinion. You build to that change as well, AT Beats. I feel like this could be a dope rap or R&B song, so I like the diversity there. The negative space is great. And if anyone adds vocals to this, the vocalists are going to be given a lot of freedom to take the song the direction they want artistically. So it does sound well done and polished all around to me. If anything, it might be like what people are saying in the chat, where they want a bit more from the beat as opposed to the vocalist. I think it's really impressive for what it's trying to do, in my opinion. The percussion was, solid but minimalistic. The melody also solid but minimalistic. Use of negative space was strong. The beat structure was not too much going on but decent. Creativity, I think, was actually reasonably high for this, believe it or not, in my opinion. Let's see. I do feel like this is a decent example of a simple beat that's still very effective, and that can be hard to do. So I do want to shout out to my minimalistic producers out there. Now with that said, let's see what else we have in the chat. Jeliii says, out the gate, it feels a little bit too much like Minecrafty type beat. I can see that parallel. So he's not getting the Kanye vibe necessarily. Yeah, I'm not sure. It feels more Drake-ish to me, honestly. It does. Now, to his credit, he is saying that it does leave room for emotional, deep kind of contemplation and thought and rhymes. So it's just kind of, he's mentioning this, kind of letting the vocalist be the one to do that. So Awsome Antwan agreeing with Jeliii. Sounds a bit too empty for him. 2.5 out of 5. And Big Terry is saying, feels like you could use this and just speak up like kind of poetry type. And if it was done like that, I think it would, y'all might, if you heard the right person on this, you might, warm up to it. So Big Terry's kind of recognizing that and giving it a 3. Okay, well, that's something different. Next up, we got, I need a little bit more energy in the broadcast, so I'm hoping this one does it, and that art is kind of painting that picture. Let's see what we got from Cuticchio.
Somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's starting to get to me now. It's somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's somebody else, and I'm by myself. It's starting to get to me now.
God damn, Jesus Christ. It makes me want to run that back immediately. I'm not even going to lie, I'm a huge fan. That's fucking awesome. Fucking amazing sample. And the chop on the sample might even be better than the sample itself. So much bounce with how the sample is oscillating with those drums. I wish he was here, Cutic. Is there a name for that kind of filter or technique that you use to make that sample kind of pulsate like that? That was fucking great. I feel like that would be awesome to like help people level up as far as a technique. And you blend that sample so subtly with that funky bass layer as well, which is masterful, straight up. The guitar layer you drop in around 1 minute and 12 seconds or so was incredible. Such a great beat progression there. And I'm pretty sure that was just a sample as well, but it doesn't matter. It worked fucking so perfectly for that moment in the beat. So I'm not going to tease it. This is really impressive to me. This is my highest rating. I don't know how fucking better you can make a beat in this lane. Percussion was great. Melody was outstanding. Use of negative space was pretty good with some of the pulsating methods on the sample, whatever that filter is or whatever. Beat structure and arrangements was great because you had moments where you're bringing in other things and transitions, and then you bring back the main part, which was fucking great. Creativity was off the charts, and it's pretty catchy with that bonus category of mass appeal. Jeliii saying this is professionally produced sounding. And he's saying it sounds like an Amy Winehouse sample. Okay, I bet you it might be. It sounds about right. He's giving it a 5 out of 5, a perfect score for everything. Can't see nothing wrong with it, right? Yeah, agreed. Big Terry sounding more American than Amy. Uh-oh. And he's from the UK, so now we got we need to hop on the Shazam or some shit contesting it. But it is sounding great. Awesome Antwan, 4 out of 5, really, really good to him. Classic Kanye type vibes. Yeah, this one is giving me more of like a Kanye kind of thing with that sample. And Jeliii is maybe helping out with my question, saying it's just the effect that I'm asking about is a pulsator. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And not everything sounds good with that. So I think you might need a certain kind of a sample and, like drum pattern to really make the pulsator useful. It sounds like that's not something you commonly would use, but man, that created the bounce in this shit. So well done, man. Really appreciate hearing that one. That was fun. All right, let's keep it moving. We're in the home stretch of the show. So here we are with Anarda with CrownRoyal, which I like to drink. Not gonna lie. Let's remember what we just heard stylistically and compare that to this one, which is a different way to handle that epic sample and that funk. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it, Anarda? Hear the drop. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like the way you brought the sample back. Too short. It's too short. I want you to bring back that funky ass drop for the main chop. God damn, that was a cool contrast between the sample for the vocal sample and the hook, and then like the funky kind of guitar part in the middle. Also an amazing sample, clearly. Might be one of the funkiest beats we've heard overall. I don't know, that Babier Brothers beat was also pretty crazy with the West Coast funks, but it's a different kind of funk. The sample drums hit extremely hard to me. The bass line is front and center, which is amazing. The chop on the vocals is critical. That's what really gives it that real hip-hop vibe to me. Points-wise, percussion was amazing. Very great example of handling sampled drums and making them hit hard as fuck. Probably some cool techniques done in the mix there. Melody was great because you also have the like vocal sample as well. Use of negative space, pretty busy on this one, but that's okay because that soul sample, you know, it's doing its thing. Beat structure and arrangements was great. Creativity was great, I have to say. I would probably give this my highest rating of a really impressive, in my opinion. What I love about this one is it sounds so classic and old school in so many ways, giving you that nostalgia, but it also sounds totally contemporary to me as well. Like, tell me you couldn't hear some modern artists. You need the right artists, but they could make this sound like a hit in 2020 to me. I feel like a bunch of current industry artists could rap over this and it would sound fresh and amazing, is my feelings. Jeliii hitting it with the 5 out of 5 perfect score. Big Terry hitting it with the 5 out of 5 perfect score. Awesome Antwan, 4.7, a little bit lower. That still rounds up though. Yeah, and then when the sample is done right, it just hits different. I agree, Big Terry. TS3 might be on top of that one. And thank you for still being awake. Hella late, bro. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a sample like this, too. Yeah, man. Yeah. Some of y'all need to hit up some of these artists. Spread some love. That's why we're dropping the links. Give them some comments. See if they're trying to collaborate. If any of you beat makers are still with us, let us know if you're down to collaborate and trying to make a real track out of this. I think people will be interested in that. You know what I mean? So let's do a moving again. And here we go with another one. Just one after the other. This is alinorth. Tell me if you recognize this sample. I don't know if this is Freddie Gibbs to me. It could be. Way more smooth of a drop than I was expecting. I feel like this one could be a real hit or miss for you depending on what you're looking for from a beat. Any of you rappers out there, tell me how challenging you feel this would be to make into a song. Is it open, wide open, or is it kind of too niche? Very twangy country sample of the guitar. Going for it on this one. All right, so that's a very classic Fleetwood Mac song. And I like how they're matching the sample with the deep dynamic bass line. This one's really hard for me to classify. There's some things I love and some things I don't love so much. It's kind of a combination of doing some things very unique and different and other things very generic. Around 45 seconds in, you introduce a really cool instrument, which I like. That kind of like... That was cool. I feel like that layer was absolutely critical. If you didn't have it, something would have been missing. That layer that was introduced around 45 seconds in really helps the song progress and build. Subtle but important. The change in the percussion for the hook was pretty masterful. That needed to happen, and you delivered pretty well there. The way you opened up the bass during the hook was pretty good. I think that was critical as well. It is such a classic song, even if y'all don't know it or whatever, and that can be a challenge. And it makes me wonder, like, do you guys feel like it's hard to manage and flip really famous songs, you know what I mean, as opposed to really obscure ones that almost no one has heard? I definitely feel there are some songs that are so classic that it's best just to leave them alone. Like, I do generally feel like some songs should kind of be immune from sampling. And this one's almost in that category, but I feel like I like what you did with it. It's still really effective and still different enough. This one might hit differently depending on how well you know the original Fleetwood Mac song. I feel like you do open it up in ways that take the melody to different directions, which is a positive. And it does have a lot of negative space left in the mix, so that's good. Points-wise, percussion was solid. Melody from the sample was pretty good. That's probably what you're going for here. Use of negative space was pretty strong. Beat structure and arrangements were solid. Creativity, medium. It depends. It depends on how you feel about how the sample was handled. Not sure I can find a flaw. We'll see about how people feel about the mix. I do feel like this might hit the bonus category of being kind of catchy, but also, depends if you like that kind of country twangy guitar. Jeliii says, seems like another just type beat to him, which I can see. It's not like you really broke out of conventions too much for this one. Hitting it with a 2.5 or 2 out of 5. Big Terry, he's liking the strings, and after the breakdown, it kind of got better to him. Awesome Antwan thinks he can get on it. Jeliii feels like it's a little bit too country for his taste. Yeah, it's going to be hit or miss depending on kind of like what you feel about that primary guitar layer. Big Terry says, sounds like it could be used for TV theme credits. Yeah, well, this song has been used like that for sure. But also he's saying he could hop on it. So it depends on how you use it. I feel like, yeah. It's like, yeah, and that's a good shout out. Big Terry's talking about, like, imagine like the Eminem song with Dido and how he flipped that. And tell me that couldn't be done in a similar way with this. Okay, that's a very good shout out as far as where this could be taken to be maximized. I agree. It has potential. All right, so let's keep it moving. Next up, we got OddFellowBeats. Here we go. We're in the last final 5 of the night, y'all. We getting there. here drinking. Home stretch. OddFellowBeats. What's good with you? Very classic sounding string sample. Kind of reminds me of like some Gangstar maybe. Some old school Primo. Pretty great compliment. Pretty simple drums, but effective. And they match the sample well. Not too much in the name of beat progression here, but I'm not sure that's necessarily needed for this one. Maybe just don't make it like a 5-minute song. This could be a solid track with the right MC, for sure. Probably worth not making it too long. Points-wise, percussion was solid. Melody was fantastic. Use of negative space, meh. Beat structure arrangements, not so high. Creativity, not so high. But it sounds good. You don't always need to be creative and shit. You know what I mean? Just do something we've heard before, but do it well. That's actually harder to do. I would say this is Can't Find a Flaw, one of my highest ratings. Big Terry's about to stay up till like the sunrise for y'all, man. You better hit him up and give him some love. I know you just joined the Discord, Terry. Drop your social or your SoundCloud or some shit on here too, so people can look you up, bruh. Return the favor. Awesome Antwan digging the vibe. 3.6 out of 5. Big Terry saying, I feel like Tyler the Creator's voice would match this beat tone well. Whoa, on his more chill stuff, huh? Yeah, I could hear that now. I never even would have thought of that. Jeliii saying, solid beat. Don't have nothing to say wrong. 4 out of 5. Awesome. And then I haven't heard Mike's Harder Lemonade. Oh, you talking about the beverage? Yeah. I mean, it tastes like lemonade. You know what I mean? It's not gonna get you too drunk. Maybe if you drink a bunch of them. But yeah, we getting there. Is that what you on right now, Jeliii? You on that hard lemonade? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, here we go. Here's some cool art. Where's my anime heads at? Terrence, Esquire, Huggins. Oh shit! You about to be the Duchess of beat making. I guess you'd be the Duke. My bad. That's the beverage talking. Let's drop that link. I like that layer you just dropped in. Cheers. That's the layer. To this one though. shout out to Terrence Esquire Huggins. A very kind of warm aesthetic to this one. You have a bright, pitched up vocal sample here that you're pairing with the flute layers. That's successful. And then you complement that with the nice Rhodes chords, Rhodes keyboard. Can't go wrong. And I kind of love how you drop in the kicks in and out and introduce that one instrument around 40 seconds in that I kind of try to point out. I thought that was a very important beat switch layer. You follow that layer up with an awesome kind of like xylophone layer around a minute in. Cool. Pretty great drums, pretty well mixed, pretty catchy overall. I feel like it's pretty impressive. Might be really impressive, my highest rating. Percussion was solid, melody was great, negative space was like right in the middle. There's feelings of that, and also it was fairly busy. But in this kind of warm tone beats, it's more forgiving as opposed to a trap song, like a heavy, dark aesthetic trap song. Beat structure and arrangements were great. Creativity was pretty high. Jeliii says, sound like some early 2000s like teen movie ending song. Nostalgic vibes. 4 out of 5 from him. Pretty good. Awesome Antwan saying, nice spacey vibe. 4 out of 5 as well. And Big Terry saying this is the freestyle beat. 4 out of 5. So very strong consensus, which is a super strong win. And Big Terry saying, doing us Terry's proud, man. Yeah, man. Getting froggy with the Terry. All right, here we go. Next, here's something different. Here we go. Chicago Freestyle. This is from Chengere Beats. Tell me what y'all think about this. It's about to be a little different. This part is opening up pretty good. Okay, Chengere Beats. Also curious what y'all think about just the clap snare on that. Jeliii saying he's sorry, but TikTok has ruined these vocals for him. He's giving it a 0 out of 5 due to that. Hey, you got to be mindful of what's oversaturated. People have overused it a lot in his opinion. It's hard for him to separate that from his TikTok experiences. That's valuable information, man. Awsome Antwan saying he doesn't know. It's okay, but nothing amazing. 2.6 out of 5 to him. I'm trying to like be very fair here and act as if, you know, we weren't aware about the original sample and the frequency of which we've heard it. I think there's some original things you're doing here. Being the most favorable, we could say the style does have some parallels with like a Watch the Throne or Dark Twisted Fantasy era Kanye production, which was not really produced by Kanye, by the way. So, you know, that's probably the most favorable kind of like comparison I could make. I feel like this also could work across a lot of different genres. I could hear this as a rap song, an R&B song, and maybe even a pop song. You know, you could hear someone with great vocals like a Weeknd or Lana Del Rey or even a Billie Eilish style over this, and it would probably sound great, and it would make a million more hits on TikTok. You know what I mean? I do think I like how the vocals are screwed up. I think the buzz bass hits hard during the hook, and the way you open things up in general during the hook was pretty good. That's probably the strong point here. It can be considered catchy. So points-wise, percussion is okay. Melody's okay. Use of negative space in between the hooks is a lot of negative space. Structure and arrangements are okay. Creativity's okay. So, you know, very least good formula. You might be able to say can't find a flaw. You know, it's doing what it's trying to do pretty well. So, all right. And then there were two. Let's get some more energy in this. Here we go with Pab on Ear with vinyl. Finish strong, y'all. Thank you to all y'all who's still here. Try to get to everyone this week. We only been doing like an all beats episode like once a season, so some people have been waiting for a minute. Antwan, if you're making a beat right now, you finish before I'm done, we put it on here. Shit.
I'm on you now.
That's a love it or hate it layer. Yee! Shout out to Pab on Ear. And we got a couple cats in the chat. Sleep deprived, already making music. That's a good sign. That's a win. And then Jeliii, nah, man, be critical, man. I'm often in the role of the good cop, so we need someone to be on the other side. I'll continue my good cop role. I feel like the primary layer for this melody was solid. I feel like that's catchy. It's well done, and it's important for this kind of lane. You have to have some kind of primary layer that's decent. I feel like the drums sounded well mixed. I think the snare is a strong element. Pretty perfect kind of snare for this beat. And the 808 in the low end sounds nice as I survive through. The synth string layer you add around 1 minute in was pretty cool and interesting. Sets the mood for the beat very well and reminds me of some old school 3/6 Mafia, which I enjoy. It's a good formula. You might be able to say you can't find a flaw. Points wise, percussion was pretty solid. Melody was medium to low. Use of negative space was actually pretty good. Beat structure and arrangements were medium to low. Creativity was medium. So there's some strengths here. I did need that energy in this point of the broadcast. I also want to shout out the visuals were pretty nice. I'm sure that's just some kind of algorithm, but it works. Much more engaging than just having a static picture there. So well done on that side. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Other than Awsome Antwan making a beat as we speak, and Big Terry watching some boxing and writing a verse. Jeliii is saying, he hates being critical, but he's not really vibing with this too much. He's not connecting too much. Jeliii, you like that melody, so I'm not surprised that this one is not hitting for you that much. 2 out of 5 from Jeliii. And Awsome Antwan, I do think that's a impactful comment, saying, I don't know, man, a lot of these dark beats are really basic. So, if you're making this kind of lane and you've listened to some of the other tracks earlier in this show, and I've spaced them out to try to make them sound more unique as opposed to playing them all together, if they're still not hitting for people, maybe that's something you need to take into consideration. And it's not about just cranking out a bunch of stuff with your presets and actually trying to do something different, man. So Awsome Antwan's giving it a 2 out of 5. And Big Terry just says, I feel like this just sounds like it could be background music. Nothing really grabbed me. So there you have it, man. It's important to know. I think it was solid. And I like the kind of like 3/6 Mafia style synths. But, I think it's valuable to note what everyone is saying in the mix as well. Here's our last beat of the night from boneezy. For this to like kick it up a notch a little bit. Shout out to boneezy. Pretty eerie beat, very Spooktober. Pretty standard hi-hats here. I feel like the kicks and the bass are the strongest layers. Other than that, it's a pretty simple beat, but it's effective. You have that primary synth harmony, and you have that eerie haunted house kind of type whistle synth layer. I feel like that's what makes it. If you don't have that layer, something might feel like it was missing. I feel like it's a good formula. Points-wise, percussion is okay. Melody is strongish. Use of negative space pretty strong. Beat structure and arrangements pretty low. Creativity pretty average. So we've had on this show some great examples of people really pushing the boundaries with creativity, and we've seen how that can both work and backfire. And then we've also seen people playing it safe and kind of just being polished and preset, and we've seen that be okay and not so okay. So it's probably important to listen through this whole broadcast, like some of these people, to kind of see that contrast. But, let's see what we have in the chat. Jeliii is straight up fed up. He says there's too many type beat creators out there, and it's becoming oversaturated and not in a good way. he's sorry, but he's being truthful. I'm not mad at you, bro. Like, this is important feedback. Like, are you standing out or are you fitting in and getting lost, right? So, like, that's important to point out. There is an ocean of beats out there. So what are you doing to really grab our attention, right? He's saying 1 out of 5. All right. Antwan, 3 out of 5. I think that's about how I feel. Big Terry, if he had a bit more energy, maybe like a Skepta or a Rocky could jump on this. Ooh, okay, as far as artists who could maximize this beat, I could hear that, and then all of a sudden you would love this beat, right? So to be fair, that's what the type beats are doing. They're trying to play it safe and be in the middle, and hope that you get that superstar artist on there to make up for the rest. So you know what? That's it, y'all. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This episode, we crossed 100 subscribers for the first time. Yeah. On the one hand, that's not much. But on the other hand, it's kind of amazing we've been able to get over 100 people together since the beginning of lockdown. That's cool to me. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome getting all of you guys' feedback as well, so we can continue to grow and level up together. And as usual, it's been an honor to review everyone's track. I think you all deserve more listens, for real, for real. You can continue to send submissions to rapfredrogers@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter @rapfredrogers. And I'll drop the Discord one more time before that link expires, just in case y'all want to fuck with that. And I'll leave you with one last song to ride out to. Here's some new music from my project, Modern Problems 2. And then we'll just be out this bitch. So peace out, y'all. Appreciate it.
And turning like madman. Need a gram, something put you out like the Sandman. Grand plan, orchestrate like the bandstand. Seeing double, you can tell I'm from the land. Handstand, sacrificial like a lamb ram. Face finales and withstand, Mr. Grandstand. Ball my hand, pyrotechnics got you lit. We got that fog, hydroponics through the mist. No stress, change a freak like I'm tone deaf. Need to find an outlet like your phone's dead. Try to show them all the reasons microphone's blessed. They ain't seeing all the game like a lone ref. Diving deep, driving lane to my last breath. No contest, break a man till no zones left. Feeling homeless, cost of staying trippy. And for your sake I'll speak simply. Not too many people fucking with me. Not too many people fucking with me, like Whitney. Not too many people fucking with me. Not too many people fucking with me, like Whitney. Heat from street mauling, keep from free falling. Hold out in your teeth like sweets or beat pollen. So watch your flossing, hawk and watch 50. Singing to the 5, that's Opera House, Sydney. Octagon shot block, dropped by the kidney. Trying to be the top dog mob like we blitzing. About to own the block, straight monop, call us Disney. Sinus filled with guap, never sneeze, antihistamine. I seem drowsy, need that greenhousey. Used to be the queen and threw in like Miss Rousey. Gonna get the shaft, L. Jackson lacking patience like your license got revoked. Pulled your card, missing payments, and you might just disappear. Lights out, no visitation. Celebrate you getting capped like a gown in graduation. So pause your applause, universal dropping jaws. And you can count me out like I'm stopping the menage.